DOOP today on DOOP by the River. It's an important one, guys. Of course, we have an important match to talk about. We'll get to that today. We're going to also recap what went down in Gillette Stadium with our Union against the Revs. Oh, it was a tough one. Definitely a tough one. But, guys, don't you dare go anywhere because you do not want to miss this episode of DOOP by the River. And let's get this started, guys. Dale! And that is right. Welcome, everyone, to DOOP by the River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union, brought to you by Philly Sports Network. Thank you so much for tuning on in, guys. And, of course, let me introduce to you guys my expert in Doopers. Of course, let's start off today with my man, Mr. Zach Lopasso. Zach, you ready for today, man? I'm excited to hear what you got to say today.
Absolutely. I got a lot to say today, so it should be a good episode.
He's got a journal full of stuff to say today. I'm excited. Let's get to it, man. Of course, let me introduce to you my man, Mr. Tim Lovingood. What's up, Tim? How you doing?
Not much. I'm excited for this week. We got a lot of Union stuff to talk about. A lot of kids to talk about against New England and team down in Mexico right now preparing for this CCL semifinal. I'm excited. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Exactly. Let's get it. Play those kids. Play those kids. I can't wait to talk about that. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, please welcome Justin Major League Bald Commish Freiberg. Justin, what's going on, man?
I'm excited to talk. First, I'm excited to talk about a Union loss because I have a feeling that Zach and I are going to be on the same page on a few of the things here, which will be our first time, I think, in a long time. But I'm ready to talk about them kids and that team down in Mexico.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oscar has been waiting a whole week to talk about this. Our local Club America fan. We'll see what we have to say about Union versus Club America. Of course, it's a very special episode. Obviously, the implications of later on this week. It's got everyone buzzing, everyone excited. Before we get to any of that, ladies and gentlemen, before we move forward, please, if you are watching this on El Parcero Phillies YouTube channel, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're not on PSN tonight. Right now, Flipping the Birds are taking over. Shouts to our boys over at Flipping the Birds. Go Birds, as always, of course. But, of course, make sure you are subscribed to PSN. And check out all the articles. Of course, Zach, Tim, and Steve are all killing it with the writing right now, so definitely check that out. And, of course, make sure you guys are subscribed to DOOP by the River wherever you stream podcasts from Apple, Google, Spotify, and, of course, PSN Radio. All right, guys. First up, before we get into any of these matches, I wanted to just throw some of these topics out here in the world of soccer. Zach, Messi has signed. He finally has signed, but the buzz is just not there. Of course, Messi has signed on to PSG. First off, are you going to buy this kit? And number two, what do you think about this move?
I will not buy the kit because as nice as PSG kits usually are, this one's kind of bland. I mean, it's historical. Maybe I'll buy it. We'll see. But because it is history. It's Messi's first kit that's not a Barcelona kit since he was 13 years old. So it's pretty crazy. And I mean, it sucks that Barca couldn't re-sign him. And you saw in his video, his press conference, how devastated he was at that. I think the rule is you can't sign a player for 50% or less or more, I guess, of their previous year's wages. So Messi wanted to take a 50% pay cut so Barca could, even up the books a little bit and pay everyone else. Not allowed to do that. So he's going to PSG, which, I mean, if them and Man City are the two teams that were going to be able to afford him. And I think the idea of playing with Neymar again, with playing with Mbappe, playing with his national team buddies, Di Maria and Paredes, and just, I don't know. The weirdest thing is he playing with Ramos because they've gone at it for so long. And now when Messi gets fouled, Ramos is going to be up defending him instead of be the one fouling him, which is going to be super interesting. But, I mean, nothing's written yet, but PSG have won league, the cup, the other cup, and then the Champions League, and then the Super League, whatever it is, the
Club World Cup.
Club World Cup, and then the Europa League and Champions League Cup. They've won it all. It's going to be so exciting. I don't agree with the take that people are like, oh, it ruins the game. You get to see 3 of the top 5 players in the world on the same team, which doesn't happen in soccer ever. So it's going to be awesome to see that front line play together. And yeah, I'm intrigued to see who takes the penalty kicks because I think it's going to be Ramos. But well, yeah, we'll have to wait and see about that.
Yeah, I definitely want to check the lines out. They definitely have to be the favorites for Champions League next season over in Vegas. Should be interesting.
And also, him wearing number 30 is super emotional because that was his first number at Barcelona, which is awesome.
I did not know that.
And it's funny because he wore 30 and Ronaldinho wore 10, and now he's wearing 30 again, and Neymar's still wearing 10. So it's kind of like it's cool. It's cool.
It is definitely pretty cool. Next bit of note that I wanted to bring up here. So if you haven't seen, if you're not a kit head like Justin is, Arsenal dropped some new kits that looked very similarly to the Union's By You kits. Now, I'm gonna throw this one to Timmy here. Yeah. Tim, man, what is your take on these kits, man? Is the world starting to recognize the Philadelphia Union?
I mean, obviously they stole it. That's just no, I'm just kidding. I mean, it's an Adidas template now, right? Because the Union kind of helped with that. But I know Arsenal had some lightning kits in the past as well. I mean, to be honest, I'm not as much of a kit head as Justin is, but I will say the Union were funny trolling them on Twitter today with the Spider-Man meme. I did like that one. So.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be good. Justin, are you gonna buy that?
No, I'm a Man U fan. Why would I buy an Arsenal kit?
Oh, okay. All right.
Arsenal are gross, but the jerseys are gorgeous.
Yeah, I can appreciate the jersey. I'm not going to buy it. I can appreciate it.
Yeah. That is awesome. That is awesome. Guys, so I'm loving that the Union are wanting to bring this back, and I do hope that they continue to do this. So the alumni game is back, though. We'll have some of the old alums from the Union over the last 11 years coming back here to Chester to celebrate. Already headlining is Ray Gaddis on the 21st. We will be facing off against the Montreal Impact on that day. Justin, from what I want to hear from you, who is the player in the last 11 years that you just absolutely want to see on the 21st? Give him a big hug and get an autograph from this guy. Who's that player?
If I'm being honest, I don't know if this is necessarily a pick that everyone would have, but a player that I loved when he was here. Unfortunately, he was only here for one season, and it was a very split season where he starts off very strong, and then the second half, unfortunately, just was not the same due mostly to injuries. And I know he won't be because he'll probably be training, but it'd be Fernando Aristeguieta.
Let's go.
In the last decade, he was one of those players that he was that striker that the Union needed. Like, he's that goal scoring, just rabid goal poacher inside the box that the Union needed. But like you said, in the first, the first 15 games, it was 8 goals and something assists, and he was on fire. And then just a little injury, but it snowballed, and he didn't have too many goals over the second half of the season. And it and it was, I knew it was I believe a loan at the time, and it was just, he was one of those players that again, like CJ, like Seba, guys that you could tell just gave their all regardless of who they were playing with and who they were playing for, but they knew what it meant to play in the city, and I respect that. So I know Fernando's probably not going to be there, but he's probably been, outside of Seba, one of my all-time favorite Union players.
That's a really good one. I'm really glad that you said that. Hopefully, once his career ends, maybe we can reconcile that relationship and bring him back here for a game. That would definitely be nice, because it's not just us here. You do hear some of the fan base that show an appreciation for Aristi as well. To Craze Reese real quick. You wanted to see the jersey, and I'm sorry I didn't prepare to get it out here, but I'll show you guys real quick. This is Arsenal's kit next season. Of course, you guys can see the little lightning bolts that are going down. It is very clean, like Zach stated. But of course, we had to throw that little satire there. It does look very similar to our Bayou kits. Last bit of news here by the Philadelphia Union. Great job they have been doing in the past and throughout its history trying to give back to the community. Today they announced they have partnered up with the Eastern Pennsylvania Youth Soccer Association and, of course, the city of Philadelphia to bring a new mini soccer pitch to Southwest Philly, the F.J. Myers Recreation Center. From my understanding, not only will there be a mini soccer pitch for your lovely futsal 5-on-5 games, but of course there'll be a tennis court and a basketball court down there. And kind of where I wanted to bring this, look, I've had this conversation with the Kensington Football Club before, or Soccer Club, I'm sorry, and just like I feel like the Union, they've done a good job with Chester, obviously revitalizing the Chester High School team. That was big. They've done a great job with Chester, but they really want to make a noise within the city. I think that stuff like this is really huge. Now, I don't ever want to bring Atlanta and give Atlanta credit, but when I was down there for the Atlanta match in 2019, I did notice the soccer pitch is down throughout downtown Atlanta, and that is kind of what I would love to see here in Philadelphia. We're talking about a metropolitan city. Put your influence on that. There is that mini soccer pitch in Whistler Recreation Center, I believe it is, in Fishtown. I played soccer there with Fishtown FC. It's a great little soccer pitch, but of course the Union had nothing to do with that. So I definitely love this piece, to love that they're doing that. I want to bring this to Tim. Tim, like, are you along the same lines as me? Like, obviously it's not cheap to build these soccer pitches, but some of these could definitely help us out, with our relevance within the city.
Yeah, I think it definitely does. I mean, if you're walking, downtown and you see a mini soccer pitch, I mean, you can go and play there, just like how you see basketball courts all over the place and tennis courts. Like, kids will just go there. It's something to do. It's right along the lines of also what the partnership with the Swag Soccer is doing as well. Developing inner city kids to play the beautiful game and to help have an outlet that way. I do know that I believe this is the first of many that the Union want to do. They want to build more around the city and sort of have that feel like you were saying with what Atlanta and some other teams across MLS have been doing. And that is, kind of having that brand awareness pop up in the city, but then also have a place for kids and other people to just go and play and enjoy the game.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. So hopefully we can see some more Union imprints throughout the city of Philadelphia. All right, good stuff, guys. Let's get to it. Let's get to some of these matches here. Obviously, we have a match to recap and we have a match to preview, but of course, let's get to Sunday's action at Gillette Stadium as the Union went to travel to the first place New England Revolution. I'm still not used to saying that as a Union fan, but they are in first place, and give them credit. They have looked really swell this season. And when we're talking about this match, New England definitely started off fast. 10th minute, great play by Matt Polster and Tommy McNamara with the 1-2s. Polster with the great run was able to get one past Andre Blake in the 10th minute. Definitely tough, but not much that you can do there. Luckily, we had 21 minutes later. Paxton Aronson, ladies and gentlemen, gets his first goal. A beautiful shot, left side, got it past the great Matt Turner, and that got the score all knotted up. Everyone went crazy in Philadelphia. Great seeing Paxton getting his first goal. Unfortunately, a couple minutes later, Leon Flock, he drew the foul. He got the from Tajon Buchanan. That drew the penalty kick. Gustavo Bao did not convert on it. Good save by Andre Blake, but unfortunately the rebound was there and he buried that bad boy, and that gave the lead to New England Revolution. And for the next I would say like 60-some minutes left in the game. Or in the match, I'm sorry, Philly had a couple opportunities in the second half, but they could not capitalize. They would walk out with a 2-1 loss. But of course, all eyes are on this week, of course, and we'll get to that in a second. But to start off the conversation with this matchup here, we'll start with Zach. Zach, a lot was made before the match. Of course, Jim, he changed up the lineup. It looked like, I don't know, I want to get your opinion. From what it looked like on paper, it was a 3-4-3 that they did line up in. But obviously we had the 3-back set. Stuart Finley got a start. That was great. And of course, we saw the 3 homegrowns, Paxton, Quinn, and Quinn. and Jack McGlynn got the starts there. So what was your thoughts on the lineup change, and what did you see from that lineup?
So as soon as I saw the lineup, I was very excited, just because I love the 3-back/5-back model. I've liked it for probably I've been wanting to get a team and run that for the past 3 years. And I just think it offers so many options in attack, because you have that coverage at the back. You have more people up front still. You still have 3 along the back, and then you have those wing backs who can get up and back. And they just provide more options, more triangles throughout the midfield and the front line, where you can pass around the defenders, play through balls and whatnot. I like seeing Flock on that left. Obviously, Kai will probably play there if they choose to do this again. He was probably being rested for, Thursday. But Leon can do that job. I think Leon, even in a 4-back, could do that job as the left back. But what I was really happy to see was that Quinn, Paxton, and Jack got the starts, because we've been wanting the rotation of the squad for a while, and we haven't seen it. And Jim just did it all in one game. He switched the formation and he rotated the squad. And I think the most important thing about what this game showed was that we as a team can play different formations. We're not stuck in the diamond anymore. We are a very malleable squad with players who can play different types of positions. Ilsinho's been playing right back. All right, cool. He can play right back. He can play right mid. He can play right center mid. He can play striker if you really need him to. It's cool to see, because we could play a 4-3-3 at some point with Paxton and maybe Sergio on the wings, because Sergio going down the left and Paxton off the right would be a pretty cool dynamic. So I think that game is going to be good for Jim. I know he said he doesn't do moral victories, but I know he was happy with the performance that they put in. He was happy with that game. He just has to say that for the press. But it was awesome to see. And even though we didn't get the result, I don't care.
Tim, I'll throw this question to you. Do you think, and should we continue switching the formations like we have and start the kids more often?
I mean, you definitely can now, right? This game sort of showed that this team can play other formations, and Jim kind of mentioned it in his press conference as well, that this team, practiced that formation this week and showed well practicing in that formation enough to play it against the Supporter Shield leaders right now. And they gave him a hell of a game. They could have easily taken points off that. I mean, when you look back at the goals that the Union allowed, the first one was another, mistake on Bizo not really checking his shoulder on the run that went right past him. And then the second one, Leon Flock kind of maybe a little bit out of position or a little bit winded from playing all the minutes that he's played, clipped Tejan in the box. Those two mistakes, if you don't make those mistakes, then we could be seeing the Union win this game or draw, take points away from them. So I think, you could easily see a change of formation. And now you see that Jim is going to trust his homegrowns. At the beginning of the year, he said he wasn't sure if he trusted these 17-year-old kids just yet. And now you see him come in, start against the Supporter Shield leaders, as we said, and they balled out. I mean, Paxton's goal obviously, was a standout from that, but Quinn played very well as well. Sort of did well with hold up play, allowing, especially when Sergio was on, allowing Sergio to kind of play off the back shoulder a little bit and run into the channels. And sort of work as like a 10, but not. I don't know. It was a cool formation. I think it was actually sort of more of a 3-4-2-1. I don't know. I heard people kind of yelling at me saying that because I said 3-4-3 when it first came out, but I think I was just excited about the lineup, to be honest. So yeah, I mean, you could see both of those things moving forward. And as Zach said, it was a very important move made by Jim Curtin, and the result, while it was a loss, was huge. It is most definitely a moral victory.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm not gonna lie, I did cringe a little bit when Tim said Supporter Shield leader, New England Red Wings.
They are. I mean, they're 10 points ahead of the second place team in the East right now.
Yeah, they are crushing it.
They're far ahead. And I know we wanted to maybe talk a little bit about if they're actually good or not, and I still really don't know. Like I kept saying that they're not any good, but now they're 10 points ahead. And I was like, well, they are good. It's half a season, but are they actually? Like I still can't really tell. And now they're going to be without Carlos Seal for a little bit, which has always been the problem. They didn't really say how long that injury is going to be, but yeah, he's going to be out for a while. I think it's a hernia injury. So we'll
surprise! Reese had a little positivity right there. Look at him.
Yeah.
Look at that. There you go. Justin, a couple things I want from you. Number one, what was your reaction when you saw Paxton with that beautiful shot to the left side of the net, and your analysis on that as well?
For both questions, the answer is ew. I mean, my lord, he basically almost put Andrew Farrell on his butt. But
worse than Guzan.
You really could not draw up a sweeter goal. And all he does is just it's not even really a step over. I think it's something that him and Brendan must work on. It's those body fakes.
The Aronson shimmy.
Seriously, it's all upper body, and you see the shift, and that's it. And he leans, and it got Farrell. I mean, you saw him lean very hard, and then he opens up a yard or two. I mean, that was it. And he takes it on his left and absolutely crushes that ball. Matt Turner has no shot at that. No matter what, I had all my New England friends saying, "Oh, Matt Turner, best goalkeeper in the league," and it's like,
sounds like Orlando fans.
Yeah. Talk to me when he's won 2 goalkeeper of the year.
Hey, now.
He's a great goalie, but
he could be on his way though.
Yeah, I was gonna say him and Tajon Buchanan, who literally may not play the next game because he's close to a transfer agreement. But I mean, Paxton, just my lord, young man, take a bow because you are never gonna hit a first career professional goal, or probably any goal, honestly, any sweeter than you hit that one. I mean, just my lord, man.
Especially on his weak foot.
Yeah.
Did you guys see Joe Bendick's tweet?
No.
What did he tweet?
He quoted the goal and he was like, "Easy 5-star weak foot."
Reese, to be fair, it's been mostly the Aaronsons, right, guys?
Aronson
and Quinn.
Quinn Sullivan hit that bicycle kick.
Fontana.
Anthony Fontana back in, whenever it was.
I mean, it's. I guess our homegrowns are just bred differently, man. That's how it works.
That's why we have the best. That's why we have the best academy in the country. So
I mean, the Union homegrowns, they're doing a lot better than Kansas City's right now in Leagues Cup. They're losing 3-0 at halftime in Leagues Cup. So,
but my dad literally just said to me, "He's like, oh man, Leon's kicking their butt." I said, "It's clear SKC could give 2 shits about this game."
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah, give us U.S. Open Cup. We don't want this crap.
In a real season, this is going to be going on with Open Cup, with MLS. It's just going to be a joy to watch. It's going to be great. I'm here for it.
Oh, man. To finish up there, Justin, what did you think of the other homegrowns, Jack and Quinn, on today? I
mean, I will say Quinn always puts in a performance. I think this performance was a little quieter than most. I think of the two, I definitely think Jack had, obviously outside of Paxton, I think Jack had the probably second best game of the 3. I mean, he was dropping deep. He was calling for the ball. He wanted to get on the ball. He wanted to get involved. And I looked at that and went, like I know we talk about Leon as an alley replacement, but how about Jack? Jack has that type of personality that it's like Ali demands the ball, wants to be involved, wants to facilitate the ball up to the playmakers. And you saw him he would drop right near the center backs and take that ball and look and spray passes wide, find the channels and I think that's what we've been looking for. We talk about Bueno coming in as a possible replacement. We have all these kids now that could be a replacement, and I think Jack might be the most alley-like young player on the roster, just because he has a similar tenacity that just you see him. I saw him stick in for a few challenges at oh yeah, this kid's 17. Like, this kid is not afraid to go up against Gustavo Bo and Adam Buxa and Matt Polster. Like, he's holding his own, and it makes you say, man, there's something in the waters over in Wayne, Pennsylvania that produces such quality homegrowns.
Yeah, you could play all three of them. They could all just start in the midfield.
Yeah,
Leon at the 6, McGlynn on the left, and Bueno on the right. Midfield set for the next 6 years.
Bingo, exactly. Like that's like, people talk about like, oh, we're missing so much. Like, do you not realize the luxury of having so many young, damn good talents that can play a few positions along your midfield? And it's like, oh wow, we don't have the superstar. It's like, okay, sign a superstar up top, but if my midfield's made up of a bunch of homegrown kids, like, who can,
if they can just develop a striker,
just one striker, one.
They don't come by easily, guys.
I know.
Easily, just play all the homegrowns. Like, we agree, Reese. We agree here.
Starting 11, all homegrowns.
I'd be down.
Okay with that.
That's fine.
Zach, we got Tim's perspective, but I wanted to get yours as well. Is New England that good? Or
I think New England's legit. Even without Carlos Heel, they're very good. And you saw Buchanan kind of play the 10, and he's like a wing back. And he did extremely well. Like, he's a baller.
He drifted out wide a lot, though.
He did. Yeah. He did. He had that freedom, free roam kind of role where he could go wherever he wanted. But he was in a creative role as opposed to a more strict, you got to be up and back type role.
Yeah.
And when you have guys like Buxa and Gustavo Bo who have combined 19 goals in 19 games, you're going to be doing pretty well. I was looking at the stats today, and I think it's the top 4 teams in both conferences have at least one guy with at least 9 goals already. So goals are important. Ernst, goals are important. We need someone who's going to score us a lot of goals, Ernst.
It's all about the defense, Zach. It's all about the defense.
It might be, but you need someone to capitalize on that defensive prowess, which honestly we haven't really had recently. So that's something to talk about as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree with you there. But all right, guys. So listen, it is what it is. We lost to New England, but the fact was we have bigger fish to fry this upcoming week.
Indeed.
Look, guys, we've waited long enough. It's been over 3 months. We have waited for what is about to go down this upcoming Thursday. Now, for the people on this panel here, we lived through some tough times with the Philadelphia in these last 11 years. It wasn't always butterflies and rainbows like what we're dealing with. It wasn't always supporter shields. It wasn't always goalkeepers of the year. It wasn't always a bunch of homegrowns that are catching the eyes around the world. It wasn't always like this.
It was barely even playoffs.
It was barely even playoffs, to Tim's point.
6th place, 8th place, stuff like that.
and what is happening right now? I'm trying to I've been trying to explain this to Philly sports fans that obviously don't understand what Champions League is, but this is really something special. We all love the city of Philadelphia dearly. It is all part of us. And the fact that our team is about to represent our city on an it is going to be a global stage. I mean, this is Champions League. It's not going to get the same type of watch like the UEFA Champions League is going to get, but there's going to be quite a few eyes that are going to be watching. There are 4 teams left, 3 Mexican, 1 American, and that American team is the Philadelphia Union. So I want you guys, listen, if you guys are not excited for what is about to go down this upcoming Thursday, please, by all means, take off that Union kit and leave it at the door. Because I don't care if they're thousands and thousands of miles away, they need that energy from back home here. So before we move into this preview, I want you guys to understand that this is going to be big this upcoming Thursday. And I want you guys to get up, just like if it was the Super Bowl. Yes, I said that. If we're going into that run, that's what I want from you guys. I want the dog mass. I want the party down broad. I don't think we're going to party down broad with this one, but I want a party like that. All right. So without further ado, guys, as always, we try to get you guys the best guests on here to bring you guys exactly what you need. And we need to find out about this Club America team. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, from the Eagle Eye podcast, please welcome my man, Ivan Pineda. Ivan, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, gentlemen? Quite the introduction right there.
It's the Philly way, the only way I know, man. But we're truly honored to have you on here, my man. Shouts to Eugene as well. Gringos and Goals, great guy, local guy here. He was able to get us to connect with the Eagle Eye podcast. So Yvonne, first off, man, welcome on into the podcast. First off, obviously introduce yourself, who you are, the Eagle Eye podcast. And of course, what we want to know first off, before we start anything else, is who the hell is the Eagle Eye podcast and what are you guys about?
All right. Well, thank you for giving me the chance for a nice little introduction. So basically, what we are is we're the only and the largest Club America podcast that there is here in the United States that covers the team fully in English. So that's what we do. We give news updates, we recap games, we preview games. We go cover matches whenever they are here in the States, and so. That's us. That's what we do. And we've been following the club closely ever since, I want to say 2017 when we first started. And it's just, a couple of America fans doing their part to make sure to bring awareness to the game in the States in the language of what we know here in the States is to be English. And so that's just what we're doing. And I'm fortunate enough to be doing it alongside three amazing co-hosts, the likes of Christian Rosendo, Alexis Juarez, and of course, our beloved cowboy, Dylan Jimenez. And so we're just, we're doing our part.
So that's a very interesting topic there. Now, we'll get to it in a little bit. I'm a very proud Colombian soccer fan as well. And I've always said, a great way for that game to kind of expand is they need some more English speaking stuff going on there. So what was it that made you guys, decide, let's just do a podcast in English about Club America, the biggest Mexican club? So,
shout outs to what was already established, a community on Twitter, which is the Liga MX English community. I kind of stumbled upon it, the likes of, Footmex Nation, the Mexican Soccer Show, Cesar Hernandez. So, people like that were, set the foundations for, what the community is today, really gave an inspiration to not just myself, but to many of us that, there is something that we can do here to cover the team that we love and support. And so one day, my co-host Dylan, he messages me and he asked me if I want to do a podcast, about America, and being the Americanista that I am. Of course, you jump on the opportunity. We never thought we would be to this day where we are today, and we're very fortunate, and we are very much blessed by every supporter that we have to this day. But it really just was a, hey, you know what? Let's just do this kind of situation. And we did it. And it's been 4 years running now.
Right. Now, Ivan, that's an interesting point as well. Like, obviously, here in America, like I'm a first generation American. There's obviously a lot of us, first generation Americans that, been engulfed in American culture. We speak English very fluently. But have you guys been able to get a fan base outside of Mexicanos? Like, have you gotten any Americanos or, Central America, South Americans that are following the pod?
You know what? It's we've gotten a couple of people from, the Central America. We've gotten people from South America. Funny enough, we have someone, his username, I don't know if it still is to this day, Finton Diamond. He is from Ireland. And so
what? You got an Irish man?
Yeah, an Irish man.
Awesome.
And so he'd always be whenever we first started be on the comment section of the podcast. We used to do this live through Google Hangouts and stuff like that. And so he would always comment, and he's one of the biggest Americanistas that I know, and he would always have an eye out for the youth academy thing, which is a weird thing because he is from Ireland, so it's not like he has access to the youth squad or anything. But so we've gotten our fair share of supporters that we've scratched our heads like, how did you come across us?
Absolutely. Ivan, I do also want to ask, obviously, look, so here in Philadelphia, to the average soccer fan that's just got into the Philadelphia Union or the other, because we have a crazy Philly sports, culture here, to kind of explain Club America, I always say, like, think about the New York Yankees, but North American soccer. And that's kind of how I put Club America. Like, you as a fan, you diehard fan, do you like recognize that allure that Club America has here in North America?
I think, yeah, we definitely do. There is, we have a little bit of that prestige going into games here at the States, knowing that if given the possibility, we would probably be the home team, because we come out in numbers, and not just because we have fans everywhere in every state, but because these fans that are very passionate travel. So you'll see, whenever we have games, whether it's Houston, whether it's Dallas, Chicago, LA, whenever we go to games like that, there's always fans traveling from all across the United States, right? You got people from New York traveling to Houston just to go watch a game. You have people from Utah. It's really amazing to see how much fans we have, and that is kind of the cool thing about being America, knowing that wherever you go, there's always going to be that support.
Absolutely. And of course, we have AJ and Dylan here as well. I did not expect this, but we got a full house. What's going on, guys?
Doing great, thank you. Just thank you for inviting me, and just was listening to the background what you guys have to say, how you hyped me up the Philadelphia Union matches in Club America, and that definitely got me hyped up for Thursday already. So
I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear, man. Someone's got to hype up these Union fans here, man. This is Club America. This is no joke here, so we definitely had to get that hype there. But AJ and Dylan, thank you for joining us here as well. Yeah, we're just talking about kind of the podcast and Club America as a whole with the club. Obviously, we all know the allure, how big Club America actually is in worldwide soccer there. So definitely some cool stuff. So with AJ and Dylan here, I guess we'll ask you guys, for us Union fans who haven't been able to watch a lot of Liga MX this year. Obviously, your season just kind of started from my understanding. But in the year of 2021, how is Club America lined up these days, and what is the strengths? What are the weaknesses? Give it to us.
I'll go ahead and go. Well, for me, we've actually done a lot of complaining more than everything, a little bit. Obviously, we just had 4 Olympians come back from the Olympics. So I guess in some sense, too, the squad hasn't been 100%. And, yeah, I mean, we're coming off a 2-0 win. But, I was telling Ivan, off camera one day, I was like, this win doesn't really feel like a whole lot, especially with the way this team has played. On paper, the squad's good. The squad's supposed to be good. But whenever they get on the field and play, they don't play like they should as they look on paper. So, obviously, Ochoa's coming back. So, obviously, I think the goalkeeping spot's a big strength for us. I'm not really sure about one of our strikers that came back from Tokyo too. He had a little injury, trying to recover from that. So I'm not sure if he'll get the start or if he's going to come off the bench. So I think that's going to be one thing I'm looking forward to. But yeah, I mean, so again, on paper, this squad should be pretty lights out, I say, but it don't ever play like that all the time.
We know a little bit of that here in Philadelphia. So I want to kind of throw us to AJ. So listen, I don't know if you listen on AJ, but I'm a very big Colombian soccer fan, and one player I know very well is Roger Martinez. Now, how have you guys been lining him up? Because I saw, this past weekend, I guess it was against Puebla. You guys lined him up as a 9. Is that correct?
Yeah, the thing is, we've been experimenting with it, especially he used to be under Piojo when we usually put him down on the wings as a forward at 10 with Solari. I feel like he's still trying to experiment what he really is. He's got that pace. He's got the physicality, dribbling ability. He's a tank. We call him El Tanque for a reason. But it's just to see how he's playing. It seems like he's starting to become the player that every America fan saw when we first signed him up for Villarreal. It's been great to watch, but it's been... Sometimes we're happy to have him. Other times we're just get rid of him. We're done. But he's just become a really influential player into our squad, and he's definitely one of those players that definitely gives life to this entire America squad as a whole.
Yeah, man. I know Beckham was interested in Roger Martinez for a little bit, but obviously that didn't go through. It's kind of the same with Colombia. He does have his, the Argentina goal. Like, I'll never forget the Argentina goal in Copa America 2 years ago. It was an absolute crack of a goal. But yeah, he has the tendency of disappearing. So I'll definitely keep an eye out on that. Iman, so we have word that you guys have limited stadium capacity. Obviously, COVID is still very much a thing throughout the world. Is that really going to be much of a factor this upcoming Thursday?
Well, it depends. A factor for who is the real question. Is it going to be a factor for Philly, or is it going to be a factor for America, right? And so I think that either way, fans or no fans, the stadium itself is a big presence for any team to walk in there. And so I still feel like there's going to be a little bit of a weight on Philadelphia's shoulders whenever they do step into the Coloso. But it will be interesting to see how much fans go out there. We haven't really seen the best attendance even before COVID. It's something that we've talked rigorously on the podcast, and we've tried to figure out as to why there's been less and less fans going every year. But we expect, I don't know, what do you like, Dylan? A good 10 to 12,000 people showing up tomorrow. Not tomorrow, excuse me, Thursday night.
Yeah, I'd think so.
So that's exactly where we're kind of, basing ourselves off. It won't be a jam-packed stadium, but one thing is for sure, we are loud, and so you guys will definitely hear, and the Philadelphia team will definitely be, hopefully, a little bit intimidated by the fans that show up that day.
I mean, just the fact, the Azteca. I mean, we all know how big of a stadium that is. Like we recognize that. So I'm curious how they'll look in that as well. One of our good listeners, AK Gaming, had a question. I guess he's trying to say, how do you rate Henry Martin?
I mean, straight up to the point, right? Saying, do you guys rate Henry Martin? I do. I know for a fact Dylan definitely does as well. That's his boy right there. AJ?
Amazing. I love him, especially his muscle man celebrations every time he scores. That's what I like to see from him. La Bomba, as we'll call him. He's a bomb just on the field. Amazing player to see.
That's awesome.
And this is a player that might potentially start, but like Dylan said, we're still unsure as to whether or not he'll take Rodgers' spot in that number 9 spot. But we'll see what happens. Chris, our very good friend Chris Rivera, saying Henry is our best striker. He really is.
Yeah.
But we'll have to wait and see whether or not Solari wants to throw him into the ring after just having the Olympic Games that he just did.
Very interesting question by our boy Reese. What player should the Union be scared of? I guess scared of most, correct?
That's a really good question because we don't know what America side we're going to be getting on Thursday. Really, it just it all depends. I think the one thing we've seen from this side is that we've been very inconsistent through the start of not even the regular season, preseason in general. But if there is one player that you want to keep your eye on that is on a little bit of a hot streak and is making a name for themselves, is our fullback Salvador Reyes. He's got 2 goals in 2 games, and he's looking to add to his tally. So he's going to be someone that's going to try to be as explosive as he can on that left-hand side. Try to utilize that pace, and if we can, if we can get him into a scoring position, he's gonna take his chances.
Very nice, very nice. Zach, Tim, Justin, any questions for our boys from the Eagle Eye podcast?
I don't know if I have a question, but you talking about Reyes going down that left side makes me a little scared. I know our right back right now, Olivier Mbaizo, has had a rough time defending recently. He's been kind of burnt on a few runs and kind of loses track of his mark at times, which even our head coach has talked about now in press conferences. So I'm sure that they'll be kind of drilling into him. So that'll definitely be a matchup to watch for sure.
Definitely. And you know what? It's curious that you mentioned that. We're going to bombard you guys down that left-hand side with as much pace as we have.
Yes.
We have Salvador Reyes on the left-hand side as our fullback, and we're going to have Mauro Lainez, which is also a player that is known mostly for his speed. Not so much his crossing abilities, but mostly for his speed. And so we're going to try to utilize that and hopefully take advantage of a little bit of that weak spot in your guys' starting 11.
Is that Diego Lainez' brother?
That is Diego Lainez' brother.
Very nice.
Okay.
Very nice. Zach or Justin, you guys got anything for our guys?
I guess for me is Solari's obviously a relatively new manager. Pride of Stockton College. Shout out, New Jersey. Shout out here.
No, he's not. Are you serious?
Yeah, he
What
played
the heck?
one season. He played 1 year at Stockton before he went down to Argentina.
Yeah,
That's a little unknown fact, unless you stumble on the. You know, a lot of people that have gone to Stockton College who
you know me, I
remind
spend my
you of that
weekends there,
fact.
man.
What do you guys think of Solari? I mean, I know he didn't get a fair shake at Madrid, and I don't think anyone after Zidane did. What's your guys' early impression of him?
Well, I mean, I'll go quickly, and then I'll let these two gentlemen kind of give their 2 cents on Solari. But very hesitant at first whenever he was announced, but after his first season with America, putting up the numbers that he did, making the team play a little bit better than our previous manager, he's definitely convinced me and many more others that were hesitant about his arrival, and now everyone's on the Solari boat. So for me, as far as I rate him, I think he's the right manager going forward. Dylan?
Yeah, for me, I wouldn't say I was hesitant, but I was just kind of like right there, like, okay, like where's the club kind of going with this? Because in Mexican soccer, you kind of cycle, rinse, repeat with the same managers, but America obviously didn't. And so, I thought it was a pretty good get at first, and so I was just kind of ready to see, what he was going to bring to the table. And a shaky start to his to the era for Solari, but it's been good so far. I just kind of wish the board obviously did a little bit more with the squad than they have right now to really give Solari the pressure. But pressure's still on for him no matter what. But I'm enjoying Solari so far.
Yeah, no, just Solari. I'm loving him. I mean, I'm a Barcelona fan at heart, but when I saw that we were bringing manager for Real Madrid, I was like, okay, let's go. I'm happy. In 25 games, he seems to just be the manager. He's a young manager. He came off of getting an All-Club World Cup title with Madrid. Now he's bringing it over to America. Now he gets the experience Liga MX football as a manager, since he used to play in the league for Atlante, which was back during like his last days as a soccer player. But just cannot wait to see what he can do with this America side, and I cannot wait for what the future holds for him. Hopefully we'll see plenty of toss for him in the near future at America.
So you guys talked about a rinse, cycle repeat for Liga MX managers. Is there a Liga MX version of like a Sam Allardyce or like
Yes.
like someone who like just like they show up and go, wait, he's back again?
For every Sam Allardyce there is in MLS, there is 3 more in Liga MX ready to take a job position.
I don't know. I think Seria's worse.
You think
with
of
that,
you think like Chelly's, like, didn't he go to Puebla like 3 times?
Yeah,
Memo Vasquez.
Memo Vasquez, Pumas, and Necaxa.
Saturnino Cardoso, I think he's been there.
Yeah, there you go, Chelis. Where we were just talking about him. So yeah, there's always that Sam Allardyce everywhere.
I guess my question I want to ask is for the whole panel, because I'm assuming all of us here watch CONCACAF International play. Are we ready for another battle between Ochoa and Andre Blake?
Yes. And this is I would hope that this is my level and expertise, since playing the goalkeeper position and Ochoa being kind of the person I've grown up idolizing so much. I'm ready. I'm ready to see this. 2 outstanding goalkeepers. I mean, anyone that knows me knows what I can say about Ochoa, but I think Blake is equally as impressive. His reactions is matched by very little goalkeepers here in the region, and so I think it's going to be a good battle for both goalkeepers. Will be interesting to see how Blake does dealing with the altitude and with the rain as well. It's going to be a rainy night at the Azteca on Thursday, so it's we'll see how he does. But as a goalkeeper, I'm excited to see both of these giants of CONCACAF go at it.
Yeah, man, it should be a lot of fun. I mean, the battles that those two have gone through. Tim, you ready for it, man?
I'm ready. Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is one of those big matches that Andre Blake kind of lives for. We've seen it on the international stage and with the Union in the last few years. He kind of lives up to those big moments. And from everything we've been hearing from you guys, it sounds like he's going to have some saves to make on his hands. So we'll see if he's able to be up to that test to make those acrobatic saves in the altitude and the rain. And yeah, we'll kind of go from there. My money's always on Andre. I always talk about on these podcasts when we talk about Union lineups and other things like that. I normally just skip goalkeeper. I always forget to talk about it because Andre Blake's just been the guy since 2014. he's been the mainstay. So he's the number one in my book here.
Yeah, I mean, we all know that the U.S. and Mexico always gets Jamaica's number, but maybe with with this Union side, who knows? Who the frick knows? But I want to direct our attention back to us a little bit. Zach, look, there's no secret. Our form in the last 10 matches or 9 matches hasn't been the best. I think we've got 10 points in last 9 matches coming from a supporter shield last year. It's not what we expected, but the recent run of play in the MLS, does that have you super concerned going into Thursday's match?
Not really, because as we saw when Champions League started, we weren't playing well in the MLS then either, and we were performing very well in Champions League. So I think that this team's focus, as soon as they got past Saprissa, is Champions League. Like that's that. They went out and they tried to get points in MLS. Sometimes they got some, sometimes they didn't, but the performances haven't been there. And I think it's because their mind has been on Champions League. And I think the time where they did have a good run of form was when they were playing Atlanta in Champions League, and they just treated that as if like that was just another MLS match because they play Atlanta all the time. So that was a little, they didn't have to like focus so much on it because they'd seen Atlanta so many times before that in recent years. But yeah, I think Jim has spoken about it and has made a point that Champions League is the priority for this team this year. And so far it's worked out well. It's going to be a tough matchup, but yeah, we'll see how it goes.
No, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, people have seen kind of what's been going on with the Union last year. I mean, selling the kids to Europe, the supporter shield, and then this run in Champions League has definitely been impressive. I want to throw something to Dylan here. Dylan, look, from the Club America side, right? Look, I mean, the Philadelphia Union, this is kind of new territory for us. You know, we've had a bad 11 years. Well, I won't say bad, but like mediocre 11 years, and now we're starting to feel like some success. From the America side, what is like? How have you guys seen this run in CCL from the Philadelphia Union?
I don't think we really see other teams. I mean, because like for America fan and Americanista, you know, you're focused on the team. You know, these are the kind of the games that you go out and you know you think no matter who's in our way that we need to go out and show why we're the biggest team in the North America region, why we're the biggest team in CONCACAF. You know, we're not going to worry about nobody else's run. You know, for me at least, you know, I watch a lot of soccer sometimes, but sometimes I get so fixated on just watching America that I just turn off everything else. You know, win, lose, or draw. You know what it is at the end of the day. And so coming in, you know, like we kind of mentioned, yeah, I'm pretty excited still. It's been a while since we had some Champions League, CONCACAF Champions League, but you know, I'm just haven't really been paying attention, you know, to give you an honest answer about this run for Philadelphia.
And I definitely understand, completely understand. I think we all of us here on this panel here can agree with you, man. When the Union are on, not a lot else can trump our attention there for sure, man. Justin, what I want to get to some lineups here. So, Justin, from you, what do you see this potential lineup that Jim's going to put out on Thursday?
I mean, I think as Tim said, you skip over goalie because Andre's like it. No question who the best goalkeeper in Union history is, will be, and probably will be for a while. For the back line, I think you're probably going to see more of the same. Yeah. I think you did play all 3 center backs in essentially a back 3 against New England. But I think you're going probably with the traditional back 4 of Wagner, Elliott, Glesnes, and Bizo. Again, Bizo is going to be a concern on that right-hand side because as quick as he is, he gets caught up defensively a lot, and that can be an issue, especially if Glesnes and Elliott get stretched wide. That midfield 4, that's a real question. The matchup that I'm curious about is El Brujo versus the American midfield because this feels like a match tailored for Brujo. in one of those, I don't know if he's either going to have the best game of his life or he's going to get a red card in the first 30 minutes, and we're going to be, running with a chicken with our heads cut off for, upwards of an hour. So that's where I get a little concerned. Obviously, I think he's the base. I think it's probably going to be Brujo, Leon, Ali, and Gazdag. I think that's realistically. And then I think up top, I mean, Casper right now he's the top scorer in Champions League right now. I think it's guaranteed he starts, and I want to say Sergio, but Sergio did play a while, so I actually am going to say Corey. I think Corey gets the start, and I mean, I don't think Corey plays the full 90. I think he might play 60, and Sergio might sub in. But I'm thinking, I mean, Jim's pretty traditional when it comes to the lineup. New England was a bit of a kind of a blip in terms of really rotating. So I see a pretty standard lineup from the Union.
I can agree with you there. I like Zach's point that he made in the previous pod, starting off with Corey and then getting Sergio out in the second half with that change of pace. That could be very dangerous for sure. AJ, on the Club America side, what can we see as a potential formation and lineup here for Club America?
So, looking from here, we have, considering Solai's favorite formation would be a 4-2-3-1. I got starting in goalkeepers, you're going to have Guillermo Ochoa. Your back four consists of Jorge Sanchez, Sebastián Cáceres, Emmanuel Aguilera, Chava Reyes. Then in midfield, you're going to have Pedro Aquino, Richard Sanchez, Alvaro Fidalgo. Then up front, you're going to be then having Mario Lainez, Sebastián Córdoba, and Roger Martinez up front.
I'm getting nervous thinking about that. Oh my god. All right, guys. Let's get to these predictions. We talked about both sides, but now it's time for the nitty gritty here. All right, let's start off with our guests here from the Eagle Eye Podcast. We'll start with Ivan here. What do you think is going to happen this upcoming Thursday, and what's the leg one score?
Well, I'm curious. Before I answer that, I do want to ask you guys, how do you guys expect Philadelphia Union to come into this game at the Estadio Azteca? Do you guys expect Philly to go, like for like with America and then try to, trade blows? Do you think you guys are going to be a little bit more, sit back, try to break on the counter, see if you guys can get something off of that? I'm just curious to see how you guys think, your side is going to plant themselves on Thursday.
I think that the Union's definitely going to press when it's available. I know Jim likes to high press, and I don't think he's going to back down from that just because it's Club America. But at the same time, I do think more often than not they're going to sit in, especially when Sergio comes on in the second half, because I agree with Justin. I think that Corey's going to start and Sergio's going to come on. I think once Sergio comes on is really when they're going to drop in and just have him sit up there with Casper a little bit underneath and really try and just break on that counter because his pace is devastating, especially against a tired back line. So I think early on the press is going to be important to really tire out the outside backs and the center backs for when Sergio comes on around probably like 55, 60.
Yeah, I'd probably say something similar. I think because the Union are a really a countering team. I mean, it is a high press, but it's a selective press. And really what they are about keeping that defensive shape. So I think I always say the first 20 minutes is always kind of, for me, kind of a key indicator on how the teams feel each other out. And I think you're going to see the Union try to maintain that really rigid defensive shape, kind of keep players back, and selectively high press and try to break on the counter. And I think it's going to be a knockout, drag out kind of a game. But in that scenario, I think that's where the Union excel is even though they're a countering team, they don't mind mucking it up and kind of, getting in there and kind of creating a kind of a sloppy game. Because they have a lot of down physical players. So I think if they can really kind of muck up the channels and really force things wide and really try to force America into, just kind of launching balls into the box. The Union are pretty good. They have some, tall players. They're getting better at covering those crosses. So I am curious, but I say that slightly being positive, but also being concerned that I'm just hopeful for an away goal at this point. So who knows? I mean, I'm not overly optimistic on the result, but an away goal would be definitely, at least for me, is crucial.
All right, interesting. Well, I mean, hearing that now and kind of anticipating what Solari might want to do, I mean, it's no secret that you guys have been struggling within the first 15 to 20 minutes. You know, you guys are conceding. And so I think Solari is going to try to take advantage of that and really, really say, you know what, from the get-go, go attack, take shots, you know, use as much, speed, down the flanks, whatever the case may be. I think you're going to see a very aggressive America side for the first 15 minutes, trying to disrupt kind of that adaptation period that you guys might have in order to try to sit well at the Azteca. And so I think we're going to see that. And then afterwards, I do expect Solari to invite the pressure, to invite the press from you guys, because Solari's the type of manager that wants his teams to be a very possessive side. So we're going to see America move the ball around a lot. And in his mind and his plan is going to be let the Union chase the ball, tire them out, and roughly around the 60 to the 70th minute is usually when we see teams start to just kind of fume out when it comes to playing at the Azteca, and then maybe make a couple substitutions, bring in some fresh legs, and then potentially try to get, something more out of that. So I do expect Solari's side that's going to be just kind of like you guys, very much disciplined in the defensive structure side of things, and kind of just build from the back and try to find something going forward, try to not launch so many, long balls or divide the ball, but we'll have to wait and see. I think the most important player for us is going to have to be Alvaro Fidalgo to try to open up the channels, make some plays happen, and we'll have to wait and see. But for at least my prediction there is that America is going to try to be as aggressive as they can be within the first 15 to 20 minutes. As far as predictions go for the scoreline, I'm going to keep it the same as I did yesterday on our podcast, and I'm going with a 1-0 victory for America.
1-0. Ivan's got 1-0. What about you, Don? What do you got?
I'm going to give y'all that away goal, but America's going to walk away 2-1.
Okay. Makes things interesting back in Chester. Very nice. What about you, AJ?
I'm going with 2-0. And to add in, I think the person that's going to be scoring these 2 goals, you know what? I got Roger Bless Martinez getting himself a brace against Philly.
Papa, that's going to rip my heart out, man. That's going to rip my heart out, man. Oh, man. All right, let's get to the Union side here. Tim, let's start this off, man. Give me that prediction. Give me a positive prediction.
I was going to say, usually I'm the positive one. And I think, honestly, the positive that I could see in this match, just from hearing you guys talk and hearing about how Club America really play with their pace on the wing and breaking down people kind of in the center of the park, especially in that first 15 minutes. That's the key. Union have let up 6 goals in the first 15 minutes this season in 19 games. So that first 15 minutes is going to be key in how the game goes. I think if the Union can defend it in the first 15 minutes and not let a goal in, it'll be, like Justin was saying, kind of a drawn-out game and, chippy, lots of fouls, a very CONCACAF Champions League game. I still see Club America having the legs in this one, especially with the altitude at the Azteca, with the atmosphere just of being at the Azteca. Union have never been in a game like this. My optimistic side says the Union do score, but I think Club America will win 2-1. Interesting coming back to Chester, everything to play for still, especially with the away goal. But that's my prediction. Here's a 2-1 win for America.
Okay. What about you, Justin?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be, as I said, a knockout, drag-out kind of affair. That first 15 to 20 minutes, again, with the way the Union have played, is always kind of crucial. And they do have to, at least in the last 10 games, have started kind of slow. So if they can get through that, I think they're going to be in a better position. But in terms of score, I think we have to agree with Dylan and Tim on this one. I think they do get the away goal, but I think 2-1. I mean, it might be slightly a conservative prediction, but I mean, being down a goal, at least having that away goal and coming home, then you still have a lot to play for, and it's definitely going to be a bit, it makes the second leg way more interesting. But again, I said this the last time. First game of Champions League, I wasn't overly optimistic, and I was wrong. So I'm hoping I'm wrong, but everything seems to show that I think 2-1 is being nice. I was feeling 3-1, but I'm gonna be conservative and say 2-1, at least getting that away goal.
And of course, last but not least, Mr. Zach Labasso. Give it to us, man.
So I have just one thing to say about the format or the lineup. I think Finley actually gets to start over Glesnes because
That's
of the
a hot
pace,
take.
because of the pace that these guys are talking about. Finley is far and away our fastest center back. Like it's not close. The other ones are very slow. So I think having him in there, and he'll probably play on the left. But if he does play on the right, I think his coverage for Bizo when Bizo's inevitably out of position is going to be important. Scoreline, I think 3-1 America. I think that's how it's going to go. I do think the Union go about their ways and concede in the first 20 again. And I'm going to say that Gazdag gets a goal, maybe off a penalty again.
Oh man, he said it. Why did you
Zach,
say
come on,
it?
we don't
Why?
predict it.
We don't need to talk about him scoring. The last pod, we didn't talk about him scoring, and he scored. It was the
We
first
didn't
one.
say Paxton would score, and he scored. So, we don't predict these things. We're wrong when predict it.
Listen. It's fine. It's totally okay.
real quick before we hop
Totally
off,
okay.
Chris, we're gonna talk more about this type of stuff when we get to the second leg here. But
Yes.
I will say, I don't know exactly how many Americanos are going to be up here in Chester, but
I've heard a decent number.
I've heard a lot.
I think at least 133 where the away fans are. I think will be sold, and I think potentially at least 130. I think you could see probably two sections.
132, 133. I think it's going to be full of yellow and blue.
I think so, and it from what I saw when they were in Portland, it got wild. It got crazy. I have some few friends in Portland, and they said
Y'all brought the flares.
Yeah, and they said,
Portland
yeah,
always
man, they go hard. Portland goes hard, but they're like, yeah, man, it was something beyond anything they expected. And I said, yeah, that's what did you expect? It's Champions League. It's one of the largest clubs in Mexico. What did you expect?
And let's not forget that there was the huge controversial within Portland that they had denied some fans access to tickets and that they had reserved only, they've said that they were going to open a certain amount and they ended up not doing so. So it was a whole scandal. And so there was supposed to be more fans at that Portland game than they actually let in. So,
and to that point, I want our fans to understand this. There are a lot of America fans here in this area, but I think it's very important that we remember that, look, just because they're America fans, it doesn't mean that they can't have an MLS side. So don't go into this match thinking like, oh my God, there's so many America fans. No, take that situation and turn it into a positive. We can make some friends. We can make some new fans. After these two legs, these teams go back to their league play, and it would be great to, you guys know how much I've been clamoring for this. It'd be great to have more Latinos down in Chester at Super Park. So, guys, please don't take this as a negative experience. Whatever happens in these two legs, it happens. But we still got more soccer to be played. So definitely keep that in mind, guys. For sure. All right, so the Twitter handles are under their names, so guys, definitely check those out. But Yvonne, where can people find this great podcast that you guys have been hosting here?
Definitely. I mean, you guys can find us on all social media platforms, whether that be Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook at the Eagle Eye Podcast. That's at Eagle Eye Podcast. And we also want to give a huge shout out to the sponsor of our podcast. It is Foot Cult. So if you guys haven't done so, check Foot Cult out. They're got amazing gear, some amazing stuff going on over there. Check them out. Use the discount code EEP at checkout to get 10% off. And just shout out to Foot Cult. Those are the homies right there.
Very nice, man. Very nice. Soon enough, we'll be able to get our very own sponsor here, but that is definitely dope. Love to see that. Absolutely love to see that. Yes, Chris, Absolutely. They're not Cowboys fans. They're Club America fans. That is correct. That is correct. I like that. He saw my background. He saw
It's
my
America's team.
Listen.
Very nice, very nice. All right, guys, that's going to do it for yet again another episode of Dupe by the River. Guys, please don't forget to check out the Eagle Eye podcast. We'll be back later to review this match, and we'll break down the other MLS matches that the Union will have. Ladies and gentlemen, that is AJ, that is Yvonne, and that is Dylan. Of course, we have Justin, the Major League Bald Commish Freiberg. We got Tim Lovinguth, Zach Labasa, and of course, I go by the name of Ed Parcero Philly, and we are telling you guys to dupe on. We'll talk to you soon. Big Club America!